Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Fathom and today I'm joined by David Kol, President, CEO and Director of Zodiac Gold. They trade on the Venture Exchange under the ticker ZAU. David, great to be chatting with you today.
Thanks, James. I appreciate you having me.
So Zodiac Gold exploring in Liberia. I understand you're calling in today from Monrovia. Would love to get a sense of maybe your personal journey into the mining exploration world and how you ended up operating in Liberia.
My first trip to Liberia was in 2009. My neighbor in Las Vegas was a former NFL athlete who, after his career ended, he ventured into the gold and diamond business. And randomly, a lawyer contacted him and had a client in Liberia that wanted to export gold and diamonds to the U.S., and he thought it made sense. And at the time, I was advising and consulting with him. My background is in the startup space. After I finished school at UC Davis, I worked in the Bay Area with a couple partners where we incubated various media technology companies and interactive TV platforms. So, my main background has been in the startup space, from the business plan writing to the development to raising the money to hiring the team and so forth. And Tony reached out and, told me about the story and made a lot of sense. And I advised him it would be a good opportunity for him to go. The night before he was traveling, I got a call from Tony, said his wife just delivered birth and he's not able to make it. Would you mind going to Liberia? I was caught a bit off guard. Reality is I didn't know much about Liberia at the time, but being in the startup space and taking risks, I gave it a go and ventured to Liberia in 2009.
Great. And I want to talk obviously about Zodiac Gold and some of the updates that have come through there in terms of your exploration program. But maybe we could start with a quick elevator pitch, 30 seconds or so. Can you give us a company overview?
Sure. So Zodiac started trading on the TSXV in January of this year after we completed a RTO with a Shellco company. We have a massive district scale land package, and I know district scale is widely used in the industry, but literally we have 2,300 square kilometers of a shear structure called the Todi Shear Zone. So we have a massive land package. We've de-risked it over the years. We've done systematic exploration from day one, starting with soil samples, trenching, auger drilling, and then diamond drilling. So we've de-risked it. We've had phenomenal results to date. We've hit mineralization in roughly 49 or 50 out of 57 holes that we've completed. We've got high grade intercepts as well, which is great for West Africa. And we've built a fantastic team of folks, of advisors and board members. We finished 5,500 meters at our first drill target called Arthington. We had very good success there. And now we've moved over to our second of 5 drill-ready targets called Alasala, which we've commenced drilling on Monday. And so far, so good. The core that's coming out is looking really good. And we're excited about the prospects.
Great. Yeah, a few points I want to follow up on there, but maybe could you tell us a bit more about the Todi Gold project? Why is it so appealing?
Well, like I mentioned, it's along a massive regional shear structure. So we know that the gold is hosted in the shear zone. Secondly, there's something called, we use the word neurology, where there's an existing gold mine called New Liberty Gold Mine, owned by Alasala Resources, roughly 20 kilometers away. Alasala did roughly 360,000 ounces last year in the same type of shear zone structure, similar to ours as well. So from a land package, from a neurology of an existing gold mine, but I think to highlight, the biggest feature besides, the company proving gold at surface as well at depth is logistically, we are in a beautiful location. I don't know if you could find a better logistically situated land package. We're roughly 1 hour outside the capital city of Monrovia, literally 17 kilometers from our office. The port is an hour and 15 minutes away. So logistically, it's perfect. The hydro dam is 8 kilometers away from site. So, when you look down the line from going from exploration and discovery where we are to mine development, all the pieces are in place where you would have, obviously access to water, access to infrastructure, paved roads, power. Logistically, it's close, like I mentioned. So your capex will be, I believe, much lower than you would see if you were in other jurisdictions in West Africa. From a geology standpoint, we tick the boxes. We're part of the West African Craton. There's been massive discoveries all around Liberia, and I believe the reason Liberia has been underexplored is because it did go through some challenging times from 1980 till about 2003. But since then, Liberia's been on track. I put it in the top 5 jurisdictions in the world along North America to work here. I don't know how much you know about Liberia, but it was founded by the freed slaves from the United States. So the judicial system, the government system it mimics the United States. We have a House, we've got a Senate, we've got a judiciary, we've got various types of lower courts, we've got a Supreme Court that governs the mining sectors based off of the Australian system. So it ticks all of the boxes. US dollar currency, English speaking, large US government presence, and you don't have the instability that you see in other parts of West Africa.
Could you tell us a bit more about Liberia as a mining jurisdiction? Then you mentioned they follow an Australian system. What does that mean for exploration and development stories?
So sure. So from an exploration standpoint, we have a mining act and that's been put into law. So all of the rules and regulations are outlined. It's very easy to go from reconnaissance work to 5+ years of exploration. Once you've completed your exploration, you enter into a mineral development agreement with the government, which typically is a 25-year development agreement where you would complete your exploration work, get through your feasibility, and then move on to your mine development as part of that entire development agreement. Liberia has very favorable royalty rates of 3%, 25% income tax, 100% repatriation of profits. That's why you're seeing the likes of Alasala Resources mining actively in Liberia. ArcelorMittal is exporting 4 to 6 million tons of iron ore a year. They've just announced another $800 million investment to build a new mine to ramp up to 10 to 15 million tons a year. I'm not sure if you know that Robert Friedland from HPX/Ivanhoe has announced a $3 to $5 billion investment in Liberia. So I believe people are starting to understand that Liberia is a safe jurisdiction compared to other countries in West Africa. And it's very easy to operate. From a discovery standpoint, you could go from, call it, let's say you find your ounces, you get it through your feasibility, you could have a mine built here less than 12 months. The EPA works, internal affairs works, all the government agencies work to get through this process. They have, interministerial committees. So it functions perfectly fine. And, I don't think Robert Friedland would be announcing a $3 to $5 billion investment into a small country like Liberia if he didn't feel comfortable with the security risks, obviously, and legal risks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for that overview. I know Liberia may be an often overlooked jurisdiction. I want to circle back on some things you touched on earlier, specifically some of the work that has been done in the past to de-risk the Tody Gold project. Could you give us some specifics there in terms of some of the prior work?
Sure, absolutely. So if we're going back to grassroots level, we've done 5 to 10,000 soil sampling across the project. From that, we went into trenching, where we've trenched over 6,000 meters to date. So we've done the soiling, we've done the trenching, we've done the auger drilling, we've completed 5,500 meters, close to 6,000 meters of drilling on 2 of the targets to date of the 5 drill-ready targets. So from a drilling standpoint, we've had great results. 6 meters over 10 grams a ton material. 9.65 meters over 7.5 grams a ton. That's been at Arthington. If we look at Alasala, which we've just started, we've got fantastic historical results of almost 20 meters of 6 grams a ton, 6 meters of a little over 7.5 grams a ton. So from a de-risking standpoint and work completed to date, I don't think there's much more to do at this level besides drilling. And that's our strategy moving forward.
Fantastic. And let's talk a bit more about that drilling. Drills turning at Alasala at the moment, as I understand it. Can you walk us through what are the timelines there? What size of campaign are you planning? And maybe what work comes after that drill program is complete?
Sure. So we closed our round of financing a couple weeks ago, and we've got the drills turning as of Monday. So the plan is to drill up to 10 holes along a 2 kilometer long structure. And, we just completed some pit sampling and channel sampling on the area. So we've got the drills turning. We'll drill up to 2,000 meters on the property, which could be anywhere between 5 and 10 holes. From that point, we'll digest the data and obviously put out the results. And then I believe the next stage for us at Alasala after this drill campaign would be resource drilling at Alasala or Arthington. So we'd have two options for resource drilling, but the company will make the decision at the necessary time whether we focus on the balanced 3 targets to drill test them, or to start resource drilling on 2 of the targets.
And David, can you tell us a bit more about the team that you have at Zodiac?
Sure, absolutely. And I think one thing I want to point out is our team is based in Liberia. I live in Liberia full time. The only time I'm in North America is when it's time to raise money, and I think that's what really differentiates ourselves from other folks around us and in the industry. But from a team standpoint, we just brought on a director of exploration. His name's Tom Dowrick. He was he is managing director of ACA Howe, based out of the UK. He's been working with Zodiac since 2019. He authored our 43-101 report. So he understands the geology. He understands the project. He has a tremendous amount of West African gold experience. So we just announced Tom a few weeks back. So he's running all of the exploration for us in Liberia. We've got a great team of advisors and board members. For example, Doug Cater, the former vice president of Kirkland Lake Gold, which is a big, actually mine currently in Canada. Ex-Kinross, ex-Barrick, lots of Africa experience. He's retired now, advising and going on boards, and he's fantastic. Graham Warren, our audit chair, CFO of Goliath Resources, is our audit chair, and he's fantastic. Renaud Adams, the CEO of IM Gold, is on our advisory board. Runs a multi-billion-dollar tier 1, tier 2 gold producer, and he's a great sounding board for me, who's a new CEO in this space, providing a tremendous amount of insight and advisory to the company. Ryan Hanley as well. We just brought on former Laurentian Bank research capital mining analyst, and then we've got Mike Demeter as well, whose background is all capital markets, currently with Fort Capital. So we're assembling the right team of folks. We know what we're good at, and we know what we're not good at, and the areas that we need to build on, we're building. That's why we're building the team we have, and you'll see new additions coming on board very soon as well that will be adding to the team and our ability to execute to announce a major discovery in West Africa.
Fantastic. So David, just to wrap up, I know we've spoken a lot today about some of the advantages of operating in Liberia and some of the things Zodiac Gold has going for it. Obviously, gold pushing record highs right now, breaking $2,500. People starting to look more at the equities and the downstream equities like the explorers. It can be a pretty crowded field. There's lots of players out there. In your view, why should a retail investor be looking at Zodiac Gold at the moment?
Sure, that's a great question, James. So it's very simple, from my standpoint, and I could rattle off a variety of reasons. Obviously, our market cap is absolutely undervalued if you look at our peers, and I'm talking about peers in West Africa, neighboring Liberia. We've got roughly a 10 million market cap, very similar stages of us. They're all at 20 to 40 million market cap. So just from an economic standpoint and from an investment point of view, we're undervalued. From an upside standpoint, I don't know if there's many companies in West Africa, close to Liberia, that has potential for 5 to 10 million ounce type of discovery. And I believe at the end of the day, if you look at our land package, if you look at our results, if you actually look into the data, read our 43101 report, read the data that's coming out of, Arthington and Alasala, I believe people will start to see that we are undervalued. This is a massive opportunity. We know internally we have a discovery. Now it's just about, convincing the world, we have a discovery, and I believe we'll prove that over the next 6 to 12 months.
Fantastic. Well, David, looking forward to hearing more updates from Zodiac over the next 6 to 12 months. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, James. I appreciate you having us.